Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Boy, we got a great show today. We're going to go through the entire state basketball Class B through Class 6A and also talk about soccer and Webster basketball. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head basketball coach of the Webster Warriors, Scott Bowman. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Boy, I tell you, what a year, huh?
It's some ups and downs, but yeah, it's the last 2 years. It's just been something you couldn't predict.
Unbelievable. The end of last
Adversity.
year is called off.
Yep.
At the end of the state tournament. And then this year, literally this week, for the first time, our kids are back in school.
In practice,
almost been a year.
Yeah.
Since
That's
we've had
right.
kids in the building,
Yeah.
and now it's the biggest week of the year in basketball.
Right.
It's tournament week.
It's what we practice and play for all season.
All season long. So you're going into the 4A district games. Unfortunately, but we played tonight, and we're going to be on Thursday.
A little late, yeah.
But you got that, and then you go right into regional. So how does it look for you, I think, during the playoffs?
Well, typically we take everyone the same way, whether we think we got a tough or an easy region or area or whatnot. But we got some good teams. I went and watched Oologah last night, and they're talented. They're big and got some shooters. They'll be tough. Grove is Grove. They're always – that coach been there quite a while. We've played them a few times in some other tournaments around. That's who we play tomorrow night. Or tonight, we're losing track of the days. They're big. They'll play inside on us a little bit. They'll play a zone. And we'll just hope our speed and athleticism can speed them up and play our tempo. Make them adjust to us more than we adjust to them.
Then you've got you go to Grove for the region.
Region. Yeah, we'll play our first round regional game, win or lose. Hopefully win. We'll play there on the Thursday night.
Right.
Yeah. So we're hoping to play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
You bet.
That's our goal.
Take care of business, and
That's
then
right.
the area tournament the next
Get
week.
to practice
and
for
then
one
the state
team.
tournament. Yeah, that's great. So you've got quite a lineup. It's not very deep.
Not very deep. We got
but
six
it's
players.
Awful good.
7 now. We do got 7.
Let's talk about those.
Yeah, it's been the whole season. We've played, first week we played 5. We gained another one, played 6 for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then got another kid eligible. So we got up to 7 players that we suit up. So we go through those games, and our guys are in such good shape. What's crazy is teams took it, when we were early in the season beating some of these schools, and we pressured. We've 100 full court press in the whole game. We did it against Union in the finals. We did it against the Pulp. We're in good shape, and we got just pretty darn good guards. If you got good guards that can bring the ball up, you're going to be a competitive team.
Let's talk about those kids. What's their name?
I think there's one, Anthony Pritchard. A few people have heard of him.
People know him.
Yeah, he signed with Tennessee Tech. He really had such an unfortunate, but everything happens for a reason. I don't know what it is, but his points. Had he got to play the games he should have, because we had like 7 or 8 of ours canceled this year because of weather or COVID. But he would have possibly been TPS's second or all-time leading scorer. But he'll be close to second because he'll catch David maybe.
Let me ask you this: why Tennessee Tech?
I don't know. The comments he had made to me a few times was, the coaches just really showed a big interest in him. Just a little, not just the head coach, but every coach on the staff, he said, really contacted him and got in touch with him a lot. And I think, it's kind of the way I was one time when I was looking around like that too. Just the distance away. Probably a lot of my kids have stayed local. I think it's good for one of the kids to finally get quite a ways away from, nothing against Tulsa, but just to get out and start something new and get around some just more diversity than just.
So who are the other two?
The one that's been to the 4 years, Martian Taylor. He's our all-time leading steals. He's a defensive beast. He can guard guards and post at 5'10". Real athletic, can shoot. He has over 1,100 points in his career. Yeah, so he's a good player. He'll go to a JUCO or two. He's got a few. I think Seward's the one that's mainly. I'm kind of thinking he'll end up going to Seward County to play basketball. And then we got Isaiah Sanders that came here, had to sit out his sophomore year on transfer and play his junior and senior year, and he's going to have over 500 points in those 2 years. So had he been here all 4 years, I could have 3 players in one class scored over 1,000. So we can shoot the ball, we can get the ball up the floor. Sometimes what hurts us is our rebounding, obviously, in our our interior post defense. But other than that, if we can just keep the game tempo up, we stand a good chance.
I was really impressed with Sanders over in the Jinx
Uh-huh.
deal. I watched that afternoon game
Mhm.
that time, and my goodness,
He can.
I came back and told the people at the office, I said, boy, they got more than one player over there.
I'm telling you, if you watch that kid on some of his shooting workouts, he will make 7 to 9 out of 10 threes when he just spot shoots around like kids shoot free throws. Just splash. I mean, he can shoot the ball. Free throws, yesterday he was doing free throws. He made 50. No, he made 60 some in a row. We shoot him in 50 bunches. He made 50, so he just kept going until he missed. But he's 92 to 95 every time out of 100 when he shoots.
Gee,
so he can put the ball in the hole.
That makes a difference when you can score with the clock not running.
Yeah, that's right.
Boy, no kidding. Well, what do you think? Did you like your draw for the
we like it. I mean, every year I've always said, good or bad, you just got to go play and win. We'll take Grove and play them no different we would getting into Memorial. We'll know as many of their offense as we can from what we've got to watch and, kind of have our game plan in. We've practiced for them for 3 days now. So that's what I like about this. The only thing that's going to hurt is we're game, practice the rest of the way. So we're going to have one practice for those other 2 teams, but we'll get it in, and I feel good. If we play good, we can win these.
Well, with the conference that you're in, the Green Country, every Tuesday and Friday is a war,
right?
And it prepares you for the end of the year. So, well, Scotty, good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure excited about getting to the playoffs
yes,
and the 22 games we're hosting this week. So
it's going to be a busy couple weeks.
Oh my goodness! When we come back, we're going to have Connor Whitham, the head soccer coach at East Central High School.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have Connor Whitham, the head soccer coach of the East Central Cardinals, a very successful program. Boy, what a year, huh?
If you'd have told me a year ago that this would have happened, I would have called you a liar.
Boy, we shut school down on March the 12th. We don't get our kids back till this week.
Yeah.
We call off state tournaments. We call off seasons, the spring season. We try to get back, and then 1 week before we have the kiddos come back to school, we have a major snowstorm. So what a challenge for a coach.
Yeah, it's funny. I always say that. Me and the old head coach, Josh Diamond, we used to always joke that it's soccer season because the weather gets bad. You're about to start soccer season, the weather gets bad. But, just the challenges of getting kids to practice every day when they're not at school. When they're in school building, it's easy. They're at school, you have practice.
Sure.
A lot of our kids have to work to help make money for their families. So you might have a practice with 10 kids. And then you might have a practice the next day with 10 kids, but it's 10 different kids. And so it's been a challenge, but hopefully getting our kids back in school, that'll help us not only athletically. Life's more than athletics, but just help kids get some normalcy back in their life, which would be great for them athletically, but also academically.
There's good things about routine, and that's one of the things that you get them because routine, I think, speaks to discipline. You're going to be in this mode of practice or going to class, doing those things that you normally in this pandemic you haven't done very normally. And so what effect do you think that'll have on preparing for the season?
So one of the things that we've been able to have at East Central since I was a student there 12 years ago is just chemistry. It's been Josh Diamond was the head coach, and then I was his assistant, and then I was the head coach. So everybody knew what to expect. But with not being in school, we've not had that flow that we typically have. And so this preseason that we've just started is, like I've told the kids, is going to be a preseason. we usually have all the kinks ironed out by now. I said, we're going to have to go in and we're going to play poorly and maybe take some lumps and learn some lessons. But if we're ready by district play and the end of March and April, then that's what it's all about. We're going to use this next month or so to just really just try to get our shape, our discipline, like you said, and get ourselves ready for the district play that's coming up.
I think that's, people don't realize March 1st is the official play date, and we're sitting here, on the 23rd of February, so we got 7 days and we're ready to play. And, it's like you say, you didn't have that time to prepare. How do you feel about your club this year?
So we have a lot of talent, a lot of young guys. I think I graduated the whole starting lineup last year, and I felt last year was going to be the one. We had, we'd hit the ceiling of the finals, then losing to the state champions, and I thought last year we had a bunch of seniors who had experience. Thought we were going to, do that there. So we're going to be young, inexperienced. Like I said, we're going to take some lumps here pretty early. But if we can come together and have some consistency, then I think we have a chance to do really, really well.
Who's going to be the team to beat in your district?
So our district, we've got Rogers in our district, and they're just a well-coached team. Coach Timmons does a fabulous job with any team he's ever been to. And then also we've got Tahlequah in our district, and they're kind of an up-and-coming team. Claremore's in our district. I'm friends with their head coach there. They're a good squad as well. And then just in the other district, Edison's in the district, and Bishop Kelly's in that district, who's kind of been our Achilles heel for a while now. Memorial's in that other district. So there's a lot of really, really good soccer that gets played in and around the city of Tulsa.
There's no question about that. I think that may be the premier springtime sport right now because of the emphasis in soccer and all the youth soccer that goes on and so on and so forth. So how does the future look? How many are you young this year? You said. Yeah,
so we have a few seniors who've been with the program for a while, but we've got a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors who that seems old, but they haven't really played a lot of varsity soccer. So they're growing, and then now that we get back in school, I'm going to try to go and find some freshmen. I have a couple, but I wasn't really able to have a lot of tryouts, and so I'm going to be posting about having tryouts to get some freshmen involved, and they're not going to be much of a playing a part this year, but just for the future. And the junior high team is usually really, really good, and so we try to go and I try to visit the junior high team and talk to the junior high coach and just make sure that those kids stay in East Central in our cycle.
Well, we're excited about that because we're finally able to add a stipend for the junior high soccer program, and one of the things that I know that Dr. Guest really, really wanted to do, and expanding the middle school program, the pandemic and the snowstorm and everything else really hurt that because we were going to have wrestling and track and cross country as well. But those will be things we'll be able to roll out next year, and I think they all work together to get more kids involved and so on. Well, certainly glad you're here today.
Appreciate you having me.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I hope we get to the season, and the best thing I can say is no quarantines.
No quarantines.
Let's just play the matches.
We're going to do that. We've been lucky with COVID so far, so we'll
Excellent.
Just knock on wood that it works.
Well, I'm glad you're here. When we come back, we're going to have Mike Brown to talk about girls basketball in the state of Oklahoma.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have as our guest Mike Brown, sports writer from the Tulsa World, and Mike is going to be the guru on girls basketball. correct?
I haven't been a guru in quite a while, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Well, let's start out with Class B. Who do you hear in Class B has a chance to make it into the Final Four?
Well, from around here, it's there aren't so many A and B schools in this part of the country.
Right.
But there is an intriguing team, Weber's Falls, down in on the end of Muskogee County, down there on the river, right across from Gore,
Right.
arch rivals. And they have a young lady named Savannah Shanks who's pretty good, and they're playing number one Lomega in, or probably will play number one Lomega in the regional tournament this week. Lomega has won. I lose track, 10 state titles.
Many state titles.
That's probably our best bet from around here.
That was they started that winning when Bobby Knight's wife, his second wife,
Karen Edgar.
Yeah, Karen Edgar was the coach, and
I was always proud. He always said that's the only person that knows more basketball than I do.
Yes, absolutely. Well, how about Class A?
Well, it's kind of the same thing. Van Oss moved from 2A to Class A this year.
Really?
They're the defending state champs in 2A, but they're not defending because they're in Class A. They have Emery Ellis, I believe is her name, will be a player up for some statewide honors at the end of the year. And the programs around here again are a little shaky. A lot of them are going to be playing in the loser bracket Thursday. Of course, we've advanced to another stage there. But I'm looking, and Hydro Eakley, a team that we attempted to get into the Tournament of Champions, won in Class A. They've been ranked number 2 most of the year behind Van Oss. Those are probably the teams to watch.
Good. How about 2A?
Dale is kind of the Oakland Raiders of Class 2A. They don't win it every year, but they look like one of the best teams until the playoffs start, and they're ranked number 1 right now. Again, 2A, the field is not plentiful on this side of the state. I forgot to mention in Class A that Liberty is really good with a young lady named Jenica Boone, and they, of course, they're going to run into somebody really good at the regional stage, and if they can break through there, they might have a chance to go to the state tournament.
You mentioned Dale, and McLean will be hosting.
Dale will be at
that
McLean,
2A,
yes.
and Dale is in that group. So somebody's just a basketball aficionado. We'll be hosting there at 1 and 3 and 6 and 8 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Dale will play at 6 o'clock on. Well, I shouldn't say that because they haven't played their district tournament until tonight.
Tonight, right.
But they probably will win there. And Preston defeated Shoto in the game I watched last night, and will play Dale if that's how it works out. And the reason McLean is hosting is that, well, I didn't know from you. You said all of the schools in that region are having water problems. Right. Dale was to host, and apparently their gym has taken some serious water damage.
David Glover called me Saturday night about 7 p.m. and said, "Coach, I got a problem. I need some help." And he was scrambling, because it's pretty late on Saturday to have some place the next Thursday and not have a place. And so we were glad to be able to accommodate him and help him with that. So, well, let's talk about 3A.
3A, Lincoln Christian has had a sensational year. I thought they might be a year away, but I'll see them play tonight in their district tournament. They have a sophomore named Ellie Brueggemann, who is has more than 150 three-pointers in her first 2 seasons. Tied a school record by hitting 8 earlier. Tied her own school record by making 8 earlier this season. They will probably be. They have a chance to be in the state tournament.
That's interesting, and we can maybe talk a little bit when we come back after the break. But I've always thought it was very interesting why we have in the lower classifications district tournaments, because everybody continues to play, win or lose, after the district tournament. That's something that I'm not sure I get the concept of why we do that.
Well, we always had district tournaments.
Well, yes,
and
that's a good reason.
But I put together a bracket that would, you could bring 2 or 3 or 4 if you wanted to do it, and that would more or less combine the functions of the district and the regional tournament. But the truth is that these coaches, they do not want to get eliminated in a win or go home situation, not in the first round.
Which is the case in 5 and 6A.
If you put 6 or 8 teams in a regional tournament and play down to, you would still have to get to 3 to go into the area tournament. So you would have a championship game and a third place game on Saturday night, but you would have a bunch of, 3 or 4 teams getting eliminated on Thursday night, and the argument now for double elimination that all these coaches make is that we don't have much of a program now, but we've got kids coming, and we sure want them to experience playoff games. And okay, let's spend a lot more of everybody's money to get your kids ready.
It's more revenue too, because it's more games. When we come back, we'll have Mike, and we'll start talking about 5A.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. We got Mike Brown, and we're going to go 4A, 5A, and 6A now. Girls basketball in the state of Oklahoma. Where are we in 4A?
Well, there's a lot of good teams around here, and there always have been. Fort Gibson has been a dominant team for nearly 2 decades. Verdigris is really strong this year. The situation has developed where what people will tell you is the best 4 teams in the state are in the West, and the next 4 are in the East. And the association, in its wisdom, has cross-bracketed everything at the regional level. So you have an outstanding team from the West in the same bracket with an outstanding team from the East, and it's no longer there do not appear to be East and West regionals to me in this classification, if you can grasp the concept.
Oh yeah.
Fort Gibson has a chance, just like they've always had. I'm not sure they're probably not as good as their very best teams, but they always Coach Chuck London is continuing the tradition. His daughter's a very good player. They always have played very strong defense, and of course that will always make you competitive, and they're competitive now. Verdigris has the Borgstadt girls, Lexi and Morgan, who were daughters of the Sapulpa High School football coach, Robert Borgstadt, who quit, he said, because, my little girls are about to grow up and go away to college, and I will never have seen them. So he's quit to watch girls basketball, and I think that's kind of cool.
It's good. Yeah,
there are other. Inola is probably the best team they've had in years and years, with a gal named Kylie Day, 6 foot forward, who is really good. They've lost 3 games. I looked it up. They're not in the top 10. This will tell you about the coaches' rankings. Inola's not in the top 10, but their record is better than more than half of the teams in the top 10.
I tell you, Mike, I've said that forever and ever, years ago when I was at Union. You get into the good old boy system. You vote for me, I'll vote for you, and we'll eliminate this one because we don't like them. And there needs to be, and I proposed this to the association when I was in NCAA schools as the director of athletics. I served on the men's basketball committee for Division II, and we had a very intricate software system that we plugged in every Sunday night. We'd go through and all the scores, home games, away games, playing up Division I, playing down Division III, winning record, losing record, all that went into this. And then every Monday morning we had the national call. And it was very simple. I just pressed the button, and that gave me my rankings for every school or institution in my area. I had the southeast area of the United States. And the only way we would ever change it would be if you were 23 and I was 24, but I had beaten you head to head, I would move up to 23 and you'd move down. Otherwise, it took everything into account, wins and losses, and it took the human error out of it, where you don't like me and you're not going to vote for me.
I think that our situation I thought that the coaches' rankings were an honest and a good effort to do this thing, but the problem is that the coaches really do not have time to put in the research, to have a completely educated. Now, being around the sport like you and I are, we can always get into the ballpark.
Yeah.
But Inola played at the 3A level last year, so coming back to 4A, not all the coaches are familiar. If you just haven't had as much success over the years, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt of a Adair is still 5, 6, 7 in Class 3A, and they're not where they've been in the past. I mean, they have, I think they have a chance to go to the state tournament for the 15th or 16th time in a row, but they're not the same team, but they keep being ranked in the top 10 every week
because of past performance.
But because of people know them.
Right.
Well, Adair must be good because they always are.
Yeah. What about 5A?
5A, hey, we've got something to talk about there.
There we go.
Now, it looks like that Sapulpa moved down from 6A. Sapulpa would have been a contender for the 6A state title with Tamira Poindexter and Staley Hurd, two of the best players around here. Maybe the two best, arguably the two best players, although Union's girls would have something to say about that. So Sapulpa and Tahlequah's very strong. We're going to be good and have had an infusion of talent. Tatum Havens, who moved from Ada, and her dad is, as you know, the Northeastern State boys men's coach.
You bet.
And so the Sapulpa and Tahlequah are ranked 1 and 2, and Coweta, the Tahlequah and Coweta representing the Metro Lakes Conference the Metro Lakes has always put 3 or 4 teams, 2 or 3 teams in the state tournament, and a lot of Western schools that are good. But Tahlequah's really good, and the last time I saw them play Sapulpa, they got blown out.
Yeah.
So I think Tahlequah's better now. We could see that in the state final.
Well, it's the last minute that we got. What about 6A?
6A, Union has been the best team the whole year. Well, I'm sorry, Union and Bixby were both undefeated in conference games that they were able to play. They're not going to play. The game between them was postponed the last week of January because of the COVID. And nobody's rescheduling anything at this point. No. Bixby has the Kate Bradley, the senior, and the 4 sophomores who are really, really good. It seemed like since last year when they arrived on the scene, they get better every game they play. Yeah. Union had 1 loss, and that was to the Union's number 3, Edmond North is number 2, and Union's 1 loss this year is to number 2, Edmond North. They have Kaylin Nelson and Tequila Pitts are really good players. I don't see anybody touching Norman. Number 1 Norman has lost what? They won the 2019 state title, would have been seeded number 1 in last year's state tournament before it was canceled. And they've probably lost 2 games since December of 2018.
Gee whiz.
So,
well, it's going to be exciting, Mike, as always is, tournament week and so on. Well, we appreciate you being here today. And when we come back, we're going to have Barry Lewis. He's going to talk about the boys' state tournament.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the Tulsa World High School guru for sports writing, Barry Lewis. And Barry, we're so glad you're here, and boy, what a busy time of the year for you.
It is, and it's busier than normal this week because you've got, because of the weather delays, you've got all in one week, you've got extra basketball games, you've got districts and on top of the regionals, and then of course in the lower classes, you got area tournaments this week, and then you've got the state swimming championships pushed back to this week, and you've got the state wrestling this week. So it's a pretty wild week, really the start of a pretty wild 3 weeks. A lot of state championships in these next 3 weeks, a lot of postseason action, but isn't it great when you think of where we were last summer and to be able to have all these activities right now? It's a lot of fun.
Very
thankful.
Where we were a year ago, we were shut down on March the 12th, and now we're getting ready to we're hosting this week in TPS 22 basketball games. For the OSSA tournaments, we'll be hosting 36 games total. With this week, the area and then sub-sites for varsity state championships. So we're excited. Well, let's get into it. We've got to cover a lot of schools here in a short period of time, but let's start at Class B. Who's a good Class B team?
I'd say Varnum looks like the favorite to win Class B. But again, when we look at all these classes for state, who's going to win the state tournament in basketball, it's could be really wild and unpredictable because in a lot of cases, you've got a lot shorter sample size than you would have in a normal year. I mean, there's some teams entering the playoffs. Well, you've got some teams in TPS that have only played 11, 12 games, maybe fewer than that. Booker T. Washington, there's a chance that they'll wind up having played more football games than boys basketball games this year. So could be really unpredictable. And you throw in the layoffs right before the playoffs of 2 to 3 weeks. So it is really hard to gauge some of these teams where they are. And so it could be really unpredictable. You could see a lot of upsets.
Well, I think so. Scott Bowman was on earlier in the show, and they missed 8 games. And, of course, that could keep Anthony Pritchard from breaking the all-time record. Now, he's probably going to get to 2,000 points, but to break the all-time record at 23, it would be with those 8 games he could have gotten there. Edison, was quarantined for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of the season. And like you say, just trying to make up the games and so on. So it's something else.
Yeah, in Class B, another team to watch is a team that we're familiar with because they were in the Tournament of Champions a year ago, was Duke.
Yep.
So I think Varnum and Duke are the teams to watch in Class B.
Love those guys from Duke. They were really excited when they got that consolation trophy, and he told me later they took it downtown and put it on the mayor's desk of Duke, Oklahoma. So, well, let's go to 1A.
I think it's Fort Cobb Broxton, traditional power, and that's a wonderful story because Coach Hines there really had a tough bout with COVID last summer, and he's bounced back, and the team is where they usually are at this time of the year, ranked first. So they're a team to watch. Locally, Rejoice Christian is entered the postseason. Not Rejoice Christian, but Regent Prep, excuse me. They entered the postseason ranked 13th. But to me, they have it all to make a good postseason run. They've got a really good inside player, Boaz Camp, who few teams can match up with, a good outside shooter with Nate Bytel. And so I think Regent, even though they're ranked just 13th, I think they're a team to watch in Class A.
That's a little different, too, to have a Metropolitan Class A team involved. How about 2A?
In 2A, a team from around here I really like is Pawnee. Coach David Page is looking for his first state title since he won 3 in a row in 2008, 9, and 10. Of course, the start of that was the Keaton Page era.
Oh, man.
And I think he really thought last year he had a team that could go all the way. Of course, the state tournament was canceled. He says he has all the ingredients this year to do it. And so if he says he has all the ingredients, I'm going to believe him.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't know.
He'll tell it like it is. So I think Pawnee is definitely a team to watch.
What about 3A?
In 3A, it's really, from a local standpoint, Metro Christian is a team to watch, even though they're not really highly ranked. But I think that, again, sort of like with Regent Prep in Class A, I think Metro Christian has all the components to make a really good run. Of course, it all starts usually with Millwood, such tradition there. So look out for Millwood.
So the state tournament for the lower classes will be in Oklahoma City at the fairgrounds. And you were indicating to me earlier the maximum capacity for this tournament will be 2,200.
Or 2,100, I believe, yes.
Okay.
The OSSA just announced that today. So 2,100. Of course, they're thankful they get 2,100. As David Jackson said last summer, they thought they're probably not going to have any fans. So to get 2,100, it's not the 10,000 that you can fit in there, but 2,100, they feel that that's a victory in itself.
Well, Mick Wilson is going to be on after you today, and we're going to go through all the protocols that are established by the OSSA, and individual districts have some things that are more restrictive than the OSSA. So I think that's an important fact that you and David have made, that it sure beats a year ago when we didn't play. And to be able to have the kids have the opportunity to have that state tournament experience, and their families and the fans, is really going to be great. Well, when we come back, We're going to be talking about 4, 5, and 6A, and Barry has a lot of information on that.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Well, welcome back with Barry Lewis, and now we're going to move up to the higher classes, only higher because they have more enrollment, and there's awful good players sometimes in 1A and 2A schools. But we'll start out with 4A. Of course, that's kind of near and dear to us because we have 3 4As in our district here. But Barry, let's talk about 4A.
Yes, it's going to be quite a scramble, of course. Webster is going to be in the middle of it, should be in the middle of it. It's got all the ingredients to win that first state title since 1966. Anthony Pritchard is one of the best players in the state, no doubt about it. And I think Webster is really poised to make a run. But then again, they'll have to get past Kingfisher and Heritage Hall. I mean, it seems like every year we say that. Heritage Hall also has one of the best players in the state, in Trey Alexander. And then you've got locally here, Victory Christian. Victory, they look like a team that can make a deep playoff run. So it's going to be very interesting in 4A. On Hall too, they're
right.
Confident. 4A is loaded.
Well, we were excited this week. Central and McLean both won their 4A district games.
Yes, I was at the Central Berry Hill game on Monday night where both the boys and girls won. So it was a big night for the Central Braves, and it was really interesting because they won in such different fashions. Central, the Central girls, it was a close game all the way, but they never trailed. The Central boys never led until the final 10.8 seconds. They had trailed the whole game. They looked rusty to begin with, and Kalen Goff-Brown was in foul trouble early, but then he really turned it on in the fourth quarter, and he was just dynamic. Central, Coach Aaron Daniels, after just winning 2 games in the regular season and having a 10-game losing streak, he says they're 1-0 now. Because that's what it's all about. You start the playoffs in Oklahoma, 0-0, and Central Braves, both the boys and girls teams are 1-0, and they get to host regionals.
Yeah, and we talk about this, but playing in the Green Country Conference has got to help them because every Tuesday and Friday they have a difficult opponent playing the other Tulsa schools.
It was really neat last night, Central Braves, that Terry Scott was at a game for the first time all year long, and of course he led the boys to 3 state titles, and so sort of his vibe, I think, helped pull Central through.
I don't think there's any question the TPS Hall of Famer being there. He's close to the program, and Aaron is one of his players. It's neat that he would come and watch him play. Well, let's talk about 5A. That'll be a scramble.
Yes, of course, it all starts with Tulsa Memorial.
Right.
And Memorial's won the last 3 5A championships, and they would have had a great shot last year. They've got a great shot this year. And it's really interesting because it's a young team, a team that doesn't start any seniors. But they've had quite an impressive regular season, and they got most of their games in until the last couple weeks. So look for Memorial. Then, of course, you got Midwest City, Carl Albert, as usual. They're going to be a contender. And you've got Lawton Mack. Memorial split 2 great games with Lawton Mack, so it wouldn't surprise me if there was a third one.
And Memorial's got a great draw because they drew a bye in the first round of regional because Western Heights did not play in postseason this year. And then it appears my conversations with Mike Whaley yesterday morning at 10 minutes till 6 in the morning that we would be hosting an Area 5A at Memorial.
Memorial is, yes, and Memorial is deep. Ty Frierson, he is really having a breakout season, a dynamic guard. Seth Pratt's an outstanding outside shooter. Their inside game is strong with Braden Hubbard and Killian Spellman. And so they've got it all to make another run for a state title.
That'd be fantastic. Well, 6A, the big guys, big enrollment, big guys. Who's the leader there?
Well, according to all the state coaches, it looks like somebody from the West, because the East didn't get too much respect. But again, as we talked about earlier, there's such a short sample size. I'm not totally convinced the West is as dominant as they are portrayed to be in the coaches' rankings. I think Owasso is very impressive. So I think as far as the teams in the Tulsa area in 6A, they would be ranked number one. But Broken Arrow and Jenks have also been very impressive. Both of those teams are deep, and I think that can really help in the state tournament. So those would be the three Tulsa area teams. You look out west, of course, according to the coaches, just about everybody out west is awesome. Edmond Memorial, Edmond North, Del City. If I had to choose a favorite from the West, I'm going to go with Del City. Edmond Santa Fe, Putnam West, who I've seen, they both have potential. But I'm just not sold that the West is as dominant as they've been built up to be. Again, maybe it's because of that shorter sample size, but because I really like Owasso, Jenks, and Broken Arrow.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. The state tournament will be a little bit altered this year because they only have one day at the Mabee Center, the final day. So there'll be sub-sites all over town. I think we're hosting at Veterans Arena on the 11th and 12th. I don't know what class, which teams yet. That hasn't been released, but and that's going to take a little bit away, I think, from the state tournament to play back in high school facilities for the quarter and semifinals. But it is what it is, and we have to do that, so we'll be doing that.
And it's going to take a little bit away from me because I love that championship Friday with all the semifinals at one side.
Right.
You had 8 games. You start at 9 in the morning, you go to about 11 at night, and I got to see them all, and it was just such a tremendous environment, so I'm going to really miss that.
You'll have to be in your car.
Go where the action is.
Site to site. But, well, Barry, thank you for being here today and for your wisdom about who is going to be in the finals, and we certainly will look forward to this next 3 weeks of basketball.
We are. Thanks, Gil.
When we come back, we'll have Mick Wilson, Deputy Director of Athletics, to talk about protocols for the postseason play.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. In our last section today, Mick Wilson, the Deputy Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, and Mick has put together quite a playoff scenario this week. Mick, we've got 22 games over the next 4 days, and to be able to host that for the association and do so where fans can have a good time when they come to our facilities. Let's talk about some of the protocols that are in place, not only by the OSSA, but also by the Tulsa Public Schools.
Well, that's probably been the trickiest thing, is trying to make everything match up, because obviously the OSSA had to wait to get things ironed out with the governor. And once they were able to do that, then they were able to proceed and hopefully be able to put together a good playoff bracket like they always do. The problem is they've been doing things a particular way for so long, and you kind of get out of that lane. It makes it difficult because what they've had has been successful. But now maybe it's kind of a time to step back and review some of the ways we've done things before. And then, of course, we've got to line everything up with what our Board of Education has allowed us to do and directs us. So it's been a little tricky, but hopefully we'll be able to accommodate our fans. Hopefully we'll be able to keep everyone safe, especially the kids and the participants. That's the number one goal. And then as we do that, be able to have some good basketball games, and hopefully, knock on wood, our teams will be successful and move forward. Not to say that we don't want everyone to be successful, but obviously our priority is our schools.
No question.
And we want them to be successful, but we also as a host want to be gracious and be able to accommodate people and still, abide by the laws and the rules and the procedures that we need to follow.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I really appreciate Dr. Gist's attitude in allowing us to continue to play. There were a lot of people that, Oklahoma City shut down their program for 3 weeks, no athletics whatsoever. And since June, when we went back for our off-season programs, we have been in program ever since. And her leadership and our board allowing our student athletes to continue to compete, I think was really a good thing for our kids.
Well, Gil, that's been great. Our board has been very supportive. Dr. Gist has been very supportive. Paula Shannon has been supportive. So we've been able to put together a good product for them to be able to support and keep our kids safe, yet be cognizant of our community. And I think that's been a big part of their leadership, is for us to be able to follow their lead and to be able to do that. So with all that in mind, I think our basketball this year is going to be, once again, it'll be, I think we'll see a successful product. We've got some teams that are going to compete for state titles, whether it's the Memorial boys. This year it's the Webster boys. We've got some good teams. And, not having the tournament champions, I felt like has had an impact on us, but I don't think it's been devastating to the point where our teams aren't still being successful and being competitive. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a chance to see a lot of teams that we don't normally get to see this year that maybe we've seen in the past, but just because of the pandemic and the restrictions, we've not been able to get our eyes on those folks. So hopefully with the playoffs and things moving forward, it'll be an exciting time.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You put together an information sheet for all of our hosts. We're hosting at 5 different locations in the city this week. And so say I show up for a ball game, and as a patron or a spectator, what am I going to have to do?
I think the important thing is to make sure that you've taken all the necessary safety precautions that you've taken at any other venue, whether it's going to Walmart to shop and making sure that there's hand sanitizer in the front and you've got a mask on to go in and shop. There's things like that are going to be common, that is now really a commonplace in our society at this time, is to make sure you show up with a mask, make sure you're ready to sanitize your hands, maybe even in some cases, and not necessarily our venue, and I don't know if the OSSA has talked about this, but being ready to have your temperature checked. Lots of things like that just aren't the norm, that are now the new normal. So no changes for that with us. When you show up, we're going to ask you to have your mask on. We're going to ask you to be socially distanced. We're going to ask you to sit with enough space for people to be respectful in the bleachers and to not congregate. So there won't be any big changes there. We're just going to make sure that we adhere to that, because that's what we've been tasked to do, not only by our Board of Education and our administration, but by the OSSA. They've made it clear. They've put it on their website. They have handed that out with every attachment and emails to all athletic directors in the state. So for someone to say that they don't know, that I don't think that's really going to fly in the face of where we're at with this COVID pandemic.
Well, it certainly won't here.
Absolutely
I can tell you
not.
that we are, if you want to come to a ball game from Tuesday on through Saturday in TPS, you better have a mask.
Well, Gil, probably the big thing too is to arrive early. We're only
Right.
going to allow 150 home guests and 150 visiting guests.
Yep.
So it's important that you get here early and there may be a little bit of a line getting in, but again, that's part of where we're at. And the big thing is we have to remember, at the end of the day, we're trying to maintain a safe environment for not only our kids and our patrons, but for our entire community. And part of us slowing this COVID number down, Oklahoma numbers have gone down, I think has been really the graciousness of our patrons in our state.
I think they have, and us to be able to continue to play even through a pandemic like this. I'm thrilled that we have gotten to the playoffs. Now in 2 seasons, the fall season and the winter season. So it's exciting. We want to assure that all of our patrons that we will be sanitizing between games. People will have to leave the facility and come back in for the next game. And all the facilities on the floor will be sanitized. We'll have sanitization available for anybody wanting that. The hand sanitizers and so on will be there. It's really, really important that we maintain where we are and not go back because of a weekend or 3 weekends of basketball.
There's no question, Gil. And again, when we clear those arenas, that's, it's kind of normal in OSSA in between sessions, but now that we're going to do it in between games, so probably a bit of advice would be for the folks that are arriving for that second game, please remain in your car. Please give us some patience and time to get those arenas cleared and clean, because at the end of the day, it's only for your best benefit. And so as we do that, there will be some patience that needs to be practiced.
Absolutely.
But I think our folks and our athletic directors are they're just excited to get some people back into our arenas, because we've been empty now for almost a year of a lot of different things. And so we missed basketball playoffs last year and missed all our spring sports. But I think that our better times are now ahead.
We're on our way. Well, if you want to see some great basketball, just go to our website. We have all the games there, or in the Tulsa World. Our 2 reporters today told you about that. And stay tuned for Inside Tulsa Athletics in 2 weeks.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart, but mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hills means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated, because students at Nathan Hill look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hill has taught me to be confident and disciplined, and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Well, I got a little ahead of myself in the last one. I closed out before it was ready to be closed, but sure glad you were with us today. It's great to talk about basketball and being back in school, and be with us in 2 weeks, and we'll wrap up the basketball season and get into spring sports.